Good afternoon. My name is Raesibe Matome. I'm going to be conducting an interview on the Teacher Centre Project. I'm going to be interviewing Professor Veronica McKay, who is the Executive Dean for the College of Education. Professor Veronica McKay, welcome. Can you please give the viewers a glimpse of who is Professor Veronica McKay?
Okay, hello Raesibe. As you mentioned, I'm the Dean of Education, and I've been at Unisa a very, very long time. My earlier career, I was a sociologist. I lectured sociology, and in later career, I moved into education.
Right.
I've done a stint in the Department of Education, the Department of Basic Education, where I worked with school books and school curriculum, adult education and policy. And for the last few years, I've been working in the College of Education, where I'm responsible for teacher development of teachers from foundation phase right through to post-schooling, and even as we move now into technical and vocational education.
All right. All right, and tell us a bit more. What is the Teacher Centre Project and what is it intended to achieve?
When we initially conceptualized the Teacher Centre Project, we aimed to address problems that students had in accessing computers, ICT, data, especially with the rapidly emerging industrial revolution, the fourth industrial revolution as we know it. And also in terms of the emerging new curriculum that we have, the minimum requirements for teacher education, that requires every teacher to be competent and to have ICT skills and 21st century skills, as we call them. And we conceptualized the project in order to give students access to ICT, for their own studies and for their own personal development, but ultimately so that they're able to use ICTs in their classrooms when they graduate.
All right, and I think we're also quite interested to know who are the beneficiaries of this Teacher Centre Project.
Okay, then when we right at the start, when we conceptualized the project, we initially envisaged that our own students would be the beneficiaries of the teacher centres. But the way that we organised the centres, and in partnership with the Department of Basic Education, meant that we were also able to include practising teachers who come to the centres, and they are able also to use the facilities of the centres. So primarily our aim was our own education students, but the way that the project panned out, they work with teachers that are in service. And that is a very good spin-off for teachers, because our students are then socialized into schools and understanding the processes that teachers go through by working in centres where they engage with teachers.
Professor Veronica McKay, what inspired you to conceptualize the project and how did this idea come to reality?
As the university was moving towards online tuition, we knew that we had to cater for students, many of whom can't afford data or don't have ICT tools. So initially we were seeking a solution to address the problems of students. Our first problem was venues for that we were able to accommodate the project, and initially we were looking out for spaces and for buildings literally to house the project. And then in discussion with the DBE, we had a brainwave and we conceptualized a partnership that gave us access to the DBE buildings or the existing teacher centre infrastructure. And we were happy because the teacher centres are in every district, and we were able to put the project in venues where we had high concentrations of students. And so in a way it was the partnership with the DBE was a marriage made in heaven, because we're able to benefits our own students and also benefits teachers in practice.
All right. As a student, what can I find in a teacher centre that can help me with my studies?
Okay, apart from their learning ICT skills, and that was something we prioritized, students are able to access many of the Unisa facilities. For example, they can access their study material online. They can use the My Unisa sites. It provides many of the assignments they do, they're able to submit, and we actually encourage them to upload assignments and submit them online rather than post them because of the lack of reliability with postal services. It gives them opportunities to email their lecturers, to participate in online chats, online discussions. And the centres also provide a space for students to come together, which we know they do, to meet each other, to share ideas, to share experiences of their teaching practice, to share lesson plans, to communicate with each other, and to communicate with existing teachers in the schools. We also use them for mentor-student meetings. And the part that I really like is that students come together and share ideas about their teaching. And what we have there is the beginnings of communities of practice, where teachers in practice discuss what they're doing with each other. So.
Okay. And so the Teacher Centre Project is set to end in December 2020. Given the huge investment that Unisa has made in the communities through it, what do you envision post-2020?
We actually hoping that we will have increased funding, that the projects will continue, because it's only now that the centres are really getting traction and really are taking off. It's only now that we see large numbers of teachers and students coming to the centres. And so we are hoping that we will be able to extend the life of the Teacher Centre for the sake of our students. More especially now that our students are moving into online learning and many of the modules will be taught using online platforms.
All right. And noting that Unisa has education students and students in general all over Africa and the rest of the world, what are the chances of expanding across the borders with this model?
This is a model that's easily replicated, and it's a model that can and should work across our borders. Many of our students are from across the borders, and the way that we've progressed with the project, and we basically have a pilot that is really easily scalable across the continent.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Professor Veronica McKay. That is our interview on the Teacher Centre Project.